I will release my tax returns against my lawyer's wishes when she releases her 33,000 emails that have been deleted.
I think you've just seen another example of bait and switch here.
All right, so we are breaking down the first debate at Hofstra University with NKU political science professor Dr. Ryan Salzman. Okay, so my first question to you, what was your takeaway?
Well, my first takeaway is, man, these general election debates are a lot different than the primary debates. It was very professional, it was very one-to-one, and that just had a different feel to it, and I think probably a lot of people found that to be refreshing. Now, if we're thinking about who won, I think I'd follow what most other people had said, which is that Hillary probably had the edge, but that was the expectation, so I'd call it a wash.
Did she have the most to lose?
No. I think Donald Trump has the most to lose. Hillary is really well known, and so it's going to be hard to dig up material on Hillary, something that's new, something that's bombastic. Now, she could have gotten embroiled in an argument, and that could have looked really bad, but I think that Donald Trump probably had the most to lose. But both of them really played to their strengths, and again, I think at the end we're left with what was expected when it was all said and done.
So my question for you, and I think a lot of people's reaction to that would be, did we learn anything new?
We did not learn anything new. The one thing that I came away with was the tax return exchange, and I think that Donald Trump did a really good job of actually taking that exchange and flipping it on Hillary. But again, I think that that was a lot to be expected. But the accusations, the fact that he, some would argue that he acquiesced to having not paid taxes, I think that that's going to resonate. But outside of that, that's in 90 minutes, and that's a pretty small matter to take away. Although if I could add one more, I thought that Hillary looked much better than Donald Trump did on foreign policy. And that's a major dispute area. Donald Trump claims with trade, claims with ISIS, all of that he's the man for the job. But I thought that Hillary looked far and away more presidential than Donald Trump did.
With that said, though, are we missing a point when Benghazi wasn't brought up?
Well, that's, you know, I hadn't even thought about it until you just said that. Benghazi wasn't brought up. A lot of things really weren't brought up. And I don't know if you would say that Donald Trump was on his heels, but I definitely had a note that said that Donald Trump did not really pander in anxiety. He really did not sell the fear card until the very end, until his closing remarks. And so that's a little bit off of his game, I think that you might say. So I'll be curious to see in the second one if he comes out hard and fast. This is why we should be afraid. This is why we should be worried. It's not just about economic anxiety. It's about international anxiety and everything else. So we have to remember that this is the first of three. And so it'll be very interesting to see how they adjust and move forward from here.
So would you say he was a bit more moderate?
He was a bit more moderate for him. And I think that that was, again, to be expected. It's very hard to sustain the combative exchanges for 90 minutes.
Sure.
Just like for Hillary, it's very difficult to sustain lots of specifics for 90 minutes. So they both... He was more combative, she was more into the specifics, but again, it's going to be kind of a blunted version of that when you have one-on-one.
Last question, do you think America as a whole and people voting in this election are going to get to a point when we come down to the third debate that they want real answers? Substantive answers?
You know, I don't know that.
Or is it about the show?
Yeah, I think it is about the show. And I don't know that there's necessarily anything wrong with that, because we as voters, it's okay to have feelings. It's okay to be inclined towards one person or another based on their personality traits. And if you've already decided on that based on personality traits, if you are not into specifics, then you're not into specifics. But again, it will be interesting to see, will Donald Trump's team make an effort to try to kind of balance that out with his online presence, with some of his speeches, or will he just double down on that? We know Hillary's going to give specifics. Will he try to go after that? A lot of questions. I'm really looking forward to the next debate for sure.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Dan.
that. All right, so over to Catherine with a check of this Tuesday forecast.
And it's chilly out there. We have some